I know the last match of the season is now in the rear view mirror, but there still were a few things I want to talk about and get through it. I also, if anything, if you leave during the matches and don't care about all the offseason stuff, I want to at least say goodbye for the offseason as we all get a little bit of rest. Well, not me. I have a lot planned. But before we get to that, I did want to at least, you know me, I'm a completionist, finish with this last match for you. So welcome to episode 692 of the Barcelona podcast, brought to you by the Blue Hour Podcast Network. I am Dan Hilton. I want to thank everyone that joined me for the Femini watch along. If they had won that match, I would have done 5 headlines. I did take some notes, but by the time I was going to have that one out, I think we are all kind of over the 1-0 loss to Arsenal. So I will have some more thoughts on that in the coming week. The Ansu Fati stuff. Yeah, I'm going to get into all the news and nitty gritty, but let's say goodbye to this season with the way that we've been doing it all season long, but actually with a little bit of twist. It's not 3 headlines. So subscribe to the YouTube channel and help me out on Big Up by becoming a member as I do other streams that aren't watch alongs, because I do need your help in the off season thinking about some new ideas. I will still be doing 5 headlines, not 3 headlines, but for this one, it's the 3 headlines from Barcelona's 3-0 win over Athletic Club to end the season. Headline 1 is, will Lewandowski still have it? So the way I'm going to set this up today, I'm going to ask basically 3 big questions. And those questions were ones that I was pondering as I watched this match. Because Barcelona was a better team. They won 3-0. It was pretty comfortable. They end the Liga with a 4-point lead over Real Madrid. All great stuff. But the good stuff that happened in this game are the same thing that people will wonder, can Barcelona replicate what they did this season and push that a little bit farther? I'm going to have bigger ideas, but those are some of the things that I just wanted to plug that I'm going to be thinking about, including this big one is, will Lewandowski still have it? That being even next season, because of course he had a brace in this game. With this lineup, Hansi Flick decided that he wanted to, very much like the last game, give the fans something to say goodbye to. He just didn't want to get blown out and kind of end the season on a sour note. So both he and Rafinha, fresh off their new renewals, I will keep him at the club for the coming years. Ernesto Valverde, too, on the other side with Athletic Club. So it's a lineup that's kind of celebrating those renewals, I guess. Inaki Pena, the one from the starting 11, maybe Araujo, but the one really that we know we're likely saying goodbye to. Inaki Pena gets his first appearance since the middle of January. But other than Inaki Pena, this is a strong 11 from Flick in front of Pena, with, again, Barcelona wanting to finish 4 points on top of Madrid, not just 1. Now, Barcelona could have been put to the sword early. The 5th minute, Unai Gomez gets a goal, but the offside flag went up. Berenguer was offside getting in behind Balde. Early warning signs, but early warning signs without a goal are very different than if a goal had actually been scored. Nico Williams, also a player that Real Madrid have said, yeah, we want him, but Athletic Club and Nico Williams' camp immediately said, no, he's not going there. But it also looks like Barcelona have discarded that option. He seems to be outside of their price range. And with Athletic Club in the Champions League, I don't want to put any Nico Williams rumors to bed to other clubs, but it does seem like he should be sticking around the Basque Country for next season because he will be getting Champions League football. Even with the strong starting 11 for Barcelona, it doesn't mean that Athletic Club in front of their home fans didn't have a lot of possession. They had much more control and possession than usual Athletic Club sides, but I can tell you, having watched them for the last 15 years, this Ernesto Valverde version of Athletic Club over the last few seasons, no wonder he earned a renewal, because what he's done with them, taking them back to the top 4, they were always a team in the last, the 21st century, really, who look like hopefully they can fight for the 4th spot, sure, but they're middling around 7 to 11 or 12, and they were an average side in the Liga who were expected to stay up, along with Real Madrid and Barcelona, the only other club in the first division that have never been sent down. So that's kind of the expectation, but Ernesto Valverde has kind of pushed the envelope with them, and they had some good moments today, even though they lost 3-0. But Barcelona had the better moments, especially when it came to finishing. In the 12th minute, it was Barcelona's first push into Athletic Club's final third. Pedri receives it, turns, and pushing the ball forward, finding Lewandowski, but doesn't lead to anything. It's a play, though, that reminds you that Barcelona does need a plan B for Pedri and Lamine Yamal next season. Pedri can't do everything himself. He did quite a bit in this match, including in the 14th minute when Lewandowski scores his first goal and his 100th for Barcelona in a Blaugrana uniform. It's on the 3rd club he's done that with, being Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund before that, and now Barcelona. And Pedri does start it. It's from a stop ball position after a foul. Pedri gets it going quickly, finds Fermin on the run. So Fermin takes a good first touch, and then into Lewandowski, receives in the central channel, and Lewandowski then flicks Unai Simon for the goal. And not long after that, in the 17th minute, it's the 2-0. Lamine Yamal wins a corner. Hadn't really done much up to that point, but wins a corner for Barcelona. Rafinha delivers it. It is terrible defending from Athletic Club. Usually, this is a team, not being Athletic Club, that is known for their set-piece defending, but not this time. Lewandowski is left wide open at the back post. Well, I thought he was wide open, but no, this is just Athletic Club's Aitor Paredes letting Lewandowski in behind him. Not good enough from Paredes, and Athletic Club They also were the ones who flicked it to the back post, somebody at the near post, and Lewandowski is there to grab the poacher's goal to make it 2. Yeah, he didn't catch Mbappe in the Golden Shoe Award race, and yes, he did not catch him in the Pichichi race, but still, Lewandowski, the number 2 goal scorer in the Liga this season, really good stuff from him. Can they replicate that number again next season? I'm not sure, because the last 6 weeks have been much different than the first 12 weeks of the season, but Lewandowski was like that the last 2 or 3 years, and he's now had the best season that I think we've seen from him, maybe the first season. But this has certainly, I think, been the most consistent season from Lewandowski, where it doesn't ever felt like he was pushing this season. Instead, it felt like he was letting the game come to him with those goals, and he was exactly what Barcelona needed. But at his price tag next season, will he be exactly what Barcelona need? That is something for also to ponder. Headline 2, can the offside trap still work? I do wonder about the offside trap because, again, that's what the pundits tell me that Barcelona has as their greatest weakness. Defensively, that's what they have to worry about. And there were moments in this game where the offside trap, at least in this contest, worked for Barcelona. 19th minute, they catch Athletic Club offside again. It was a huge miss anyway. 26th minute, it's a good run by Balde. A reminder that with Balde back in, that left wing is so much more dynamic, which, as we talk about, raises the line of confrontation where you don't have to defend as deep with 4 at the back and get Balde forward. And that means that Araujo, Cubarsí, their reactions and their anticipation, which Araujo, I thought, had really good anticipation against Athletic Club, same with Cubarsí. Those guys are allowed to defend going forward as opposed to on the offside trap trying to run backwards. And Balde on that left wing solidifying that spot helps you do all of that. Pedri also was in his bag on the day, so when that guy's going to control the tempo of the game, the pace of the game after the first 20 minutes or so, that's going to give you a lot of options. Rafinha also, with Pedri controlling the game like that, is able to run in behind because Balde is now occupying the left wing in a more dangerous spot as a dribbler and a runner. Gabi and Cubarsí were also trying to mark Marouane the best they could. Just a big body. They call him the Fridge or Navarra in Spanish, which is a fun little nickname there. I like it. But yeah, Cubarsí, Gabi were giving up quite a bit of weight, and for Gabi, a little bit of height as well. But hey, they did a good enough job. 49th minute, it was a chance for Lewandowski to make it 3, but it didn't work out for him. There's also a good save by Inaki Peña in this contest. Peña made the saves that he had to make, especially this one on Marouane. And I watched that save from Inaki Peña, and I do kind of say, why can't the high line work next season? Because Szczesny went on one of the longest unbeaten streaks for any individual Barcelona player this season. So why not do the same thing next year? If they can reinforce the goalkeeper position, continue to do what you're doing with that high line, especially in year 2 of that project. Just because the opposition seems like, oh, they're going to figure it out, high line is something we already knew about. What are opposition teams really going to figure out and break down with that? Is Inigo Martinez going to be as good as he was this year? Or can Araujo be better if he's going to stick around? Is another player going to come in to partner with Cubarsí, maybe with a left foot like Inigo Martinez, who is going to solidify that and work into that role? Where does Christensen fit into all of this? Is there a backup coming for Balde at left back to kind of, again, I said, push that line of confrontation forward? Those are all positive questions. And if the answer is yes to any of those questions, there's no reason why Barcelona can also improve and make their offside trap not more dangerous numerically, because I think that record-breaking number of offside traps they had in the Liga this season is going to be hard to replicate. But I also do think defensively, they might get a little bit tighter, a little bit better, and they might be able to defend in other variations, not just the high line, but more of a medium block when they need to. And in year 2 of Hansi Flick's defensive system, we could see more things added to his toolbox as opposed to opposition figuring him out. And then headline 3 is more one-club men. Inaki Peña, as I mentioned, was one guy I think we're definitely saying goodbye to who featured in this match. The other ones that we'll probably say goodbye to, including Pablo Torre. Actually, maybe Pau Victor, who got on late. But some of the other subs, Araujo goes out along with Rafinha for Christensen and Olmo, as well as Jar Martin and De Jong coming on later in that second half. As I said, followed by Pau Victor late for Balde and Pedri. Of all that group, I think Araujo, other than Peña, would be the other one that will likely be gone, and then Pau Victor adding him to that list. But for Barcelona, they up to nothing, kind of very conservatively finished this game off. 68th minute, it was a good move from Barca, cut back to Lamine Yamal, skied it over. A reminder that another big factor for next season is if Lamine Yamal, the 17-year-old kid, does, well, something a 17-year-old kid can do, and that's improve on his shot making, Barcelona's attack could be even more dangerous than it was this season. 72nd minute, Athletic Club did hit the crossbar after a save from Peña. As I said, credit to Peña. This is his goodbye match. I think it was one that he could hold his head high with. I think he'd be happy with what he did. And I do think Inaki Peña is a first-team goalkeeper at maybe a club that could be in the Champions League, like a Galatasaray, or somewhere else in Spain at a high level. I think he could even be a top half Liga goalkeeper. And that backup spot at Barcelona is real tough. And if he's a guy who wants to play, you're not going to get your spots with this Ter Stegen, and especially if there's a new guy coming in. 74th minute, another chance from Lamine Yamal that was blocked at a near post. But in that shot, I got to thinking, wouldn't it be great if Lamine Yamal got to spend his, and when we say career, I mean career in like the top 5 leagues where he's playing in the Champions League, and we see him featuring in all these different big competitions in Europe and playing for one of the big sides, if you want to call it that, and then finishing his career wherever it else may be. Unfortunately for Messi, the PSG stuff did kind of destroy the one club man stuff, but more Busquets, I think of him as a one club man, came up through the academy, played for Barcelona the whole time, then goes into Miami when his career, as we know, is pretty much in the twilight. We can admit that of the play that we see at Inter Miami. You hope Lamine Yamal is that, but on the other side, I think La Liga, I always love to see when opposition teams around Spain have those players. We're keen from Real Betis, a really good example from the last few seasons, and we have seen other clubs have those guys that have pretty much gone the distance with them. Good to see, and Oscar de Marcos, one of the examples for Athletic Club, a player that every time I had to talk about Athletic Club over the last 8 seasons, I had to talk about de Marcos because he was a threat. Playing right back. Sometimes he play right midfield, depending on the manager for Athletic Club, especially when they play 5 in the midfield or they play with wing backs. But in this flat back 4 that Ernesto Valverde has gone with the last few seasons, de Marcos has kind of had another renaissance of his career and extended what could have been a player that wrapped it up a season or 2 ago. But he gets his swan song late in the match in front of the home crowd. Yeah, cool to see. Again, best of luck to him. 572 games with the Bilbao club. Yeah, there were frustrating moments with him. Him and Jordi Alba had quite the rivalry, but that's a player that I respect, and that's a player that very much like Luka Modric, actually, for Real Madrid. I say good luck with whatever you have coming next because you were doing La Liga a good service by playing the number of games that you did for the club that, yes, Barcelona was in opposition to, but yes, good for you, Oscar de Marcos. Now let's finish these headlines real quick. In the 90th minute, Dani Olmo wins the penalty kick, and Lewandowski had just come out of the game for Bow Victor, so he doesn't get to take it. VAR gives the PK. Olmo converts it. So maybe just a little bit of a positive for Olmo heading the offseason because, yeah, the last few weeks have not been good to him either. And I think people were jumping on the Olmo signing, but very much like Rafinha. Did Dani Olmo have a good season for Barcelona? Yes. Was it a great first season? No. Was it a bad season? Absolutely not. Don't start with that Dani Olmo slander right now. I'm excited to see how he continues to incorporate not only him on the field, but off the field. What does the club and Hansi Flick have in store for trying to get the best out of him off the field and keep him healthy? Took a little bit for Pedri. Hopefully Araujo can do the same. These often injured muscle injury guys like Dani Olmo, can they figure him out in the offseason? Because when he's on the field, really good things happen. It's just when he's on the field, off the field, can't get consistency. That's where I think we see Dani Olmo struggle. So hopefully Dani Olmo, this goal can send him into the offseason with some positivity. And I would send you into the offseason with positivity, but I'm actually not sending you too far. I still want to review the season, talk to a few people about that. I still need to talk about La Masia and review the season there. There are a bunch of other things I have planned as far as recapping transfer stuff, as far as looking at other transfers that you don't really see linked to Barcelona, but young players that I would be excited about and kind of playing a little fun game with that. I have that in the works. And yeah, there's a lot of content I have going on around the club the next few weeks especially. So don't go anywhere. Remember, subscribe, help me up on Big Up. We could definitely do a transfer watch along, or not really watch along, but a transfer banter, whatever it's called, on Big Up in the coming week. So please join me for that, where you can become a member for free. Or again, subscribe to the YouTube channel, help me on the podcast apps, or in the off season too, as low as $3. Patreon is how I continue to make these shows, especially in the off season when not any people are paying attention. So as always, until next time, this was a fantastic season. So again, it's Visca El Barça, and I'm excited to get back to the Camp Nou next season. That seems pretty exciting. I might have to book my flight to Barcelona in the coming weeks. So we'll see what I can do for next season. But for now, yeah, I guess I'm only off for a few more hours. I'm already writing stuff, as I said, so I'm not going too far. Forza Barça.